Good morning. You're watching breaking news here at CNN News 18. It's right here that we take you through all of the country's top stories, particularly focusing on the breaking ones. We have a story right now coming to us straight from Russia. This is an exclusive. We're learning that Russian intelligence has briefed top Indian security about the arrest that they made. Remember, just to give you a little bit of background, there was a ISIS bomber who planned an attack on an Indian leader. He was detained in Russia yesterday. We know that he was plotting a terrorist attack against one of India's leadership elite. This was all according to the Russian news agency Sputnik. Now, Russia's Federal Security Service has been involved since yesterday. They detained the alleged Islamic State suicide bomber who was planning to fly to India. Now, we do have more details. We know that Russian security officials have already spoken to India's senior officials. The briefing happened immediately after the detention of the ISIS suspect, as we've just said. And what we also know was that apart from Russians assuring full cooperation with the Indian side on just this issue, they've also said that they will cooperate on multiple other terror-related issues. Both sides have also once again discussed intelligence sharing in the future. Now, just to give you a little bit more context on this entire story, remember, the Russian news agency reported that the suspected terrorist had made a video, and in that video, he'd confessed that he was preparing an act of terrorism against a member the Russian Federal Security Services were interviewing this man. And while doing that, there was a video that has come out. And in that video, you can see the terrorist confess that he was preparing an act of terrorism against a member of India's ruling circles for insulting the Prophet Muhammad. So those are the details we have with us right now. We also know that the detainee said in the video that he swore allegiance to the IS Amir in April 2022 and underwent special training after he flew to Russia. Those are the details that we have till now. Remember, notably, in June, the Islamic State had threatened attacks in India over the controversy. The controversy right at the center of this, the reason cited by the suspected suicide bomber to travel to India to commit a terrorist act is likely reference to BJP spokesperson Nupur Sharma's alleged objectionable remarks against the Prophet during a TV debate. Sources in the Indian security establishment had said yesterday that they did not have information on who the suspected bomber was going to target in India. So those are the details we have with us right now. Remember, in the video that was made by Russian security officials of this person who has been arrested, you can see this person saying that I was supposed to be given things there to commit a terrorist attack at the behest of the Islamic State for insulting the Prophet Muhammad. That's why it's being thought that this had to do in connection with the BJP spokesperson Nupur Sharma's earlier comments. Now, remember, my colleagues will be joining us later on the story. Right now, though, we have Pathikrit Payne, who is a senior security strategist. He's with us right now. Sir, thank you so much for joining us here at CNN News 18. So what can you tell us about the coordination between the Russian Federal Security Service and India's security services?
Well, generally, in general, most of these anti-terror organizations of all the countries, especially those who have, alliances in some or the other way, share intelligence inputs. And you have also seen in this specific case, there are indications that the first intelligence inputs on this issue actually came from United States to Russia, in spite of the fact that there are differences. So in the realm of counter-terror operations globally, major countries generally do share information. In this case, what I think would happen is that there will be a team possibly of NIA and perhaps also of RAW and IB Intelligence Bureau who would be going to Russia to interrogate this person to find out where actually he got trained, who are his mentors, and since he was supposed to come to India to do an act of terror, he certainly would not have been acting alone. There would have been a sleeper cell. There are people inside this country who would have been giving him, logistical support in terms of shelter, food, helping in fabrication of the bomb, because he would certainly not be coming with the bomb all over from Russia. So an entire gamut of investigation and detailed analysis will be taking place. And after that, it has to be seen whether the trial of that person happens in Russia or India. Possibly it will happen in Russia. The level of intelligence sharing is very profound because Russia also faces a large, array of terror threats, especially from Central Asian region. It has its own republics of Grozny and Dagestan, which had faced severe instances of Islamic radicalization in the past, and that threat of resurfacing again remains very profound. Remember, Afghanistan is very near to Russia, and the ISIS threat is very profound so far as Russia is concerned, because ISIS was defeated in Syria by Russia itself. Secondly, because India has been a strong supporter and a pillar, like a rock solid pillar of support for Russia during this entire crisis that Russia is going through, that also increases the level of the support that Russia actually wants to give a country like India, especially in the realm of counter-terror operations. So I think, given the fact that the common denomination of threat from radical Islamist extremist organization remains very profound, the intelligence sharing mechanism also has been institutionalized, and it keeps on happening. The result of this is what we can see this time.
Okay. Mr. Payne, please stay with us. We also have Major General AK Siwach. He's a defense expert. He's with us on the show right now. General, thank you so much for joining us here at CNN News 18. General, we just spoke to strategic expert Pathikrit Payne. He was laying out for us the kind of coordination we've seen between Russia and India. But sir, I want to understand from you, since the development that took place yesterday, where we, Indian media authorities, first received news of this development, I'd like to understand from you, how have you seen India's security officials, particularly at the higher levels, how have they responded to these developments? Has this set off alarm bells at all?
Not exactly. See, we are already knowing it that there are modules of Islamic State trying to come into India for terrorist activities. And this intelligence was there with our NIA and other intelligence agencies. But the point is, what is encouraging is the cooperation which has been shown by Russia. That's very nice. And the point is the proactive strategy which was adopted by Russia, and they could nab this radicalized Islamic State terrorist before it could board a flight from Russia toward India or toward Nepal or to Bangladesh. So the point is that I suppose the cooperation and coordination between Russia and the Indian agencies is very encouraging. And as brought out earlier also, the fact is India and Russia were always been very close as far as sharing concern, but more so now, because India has been, the way India has supported Russia in Russia-Ukraine war, I'm sure they are quite grateful for that, and they will like to show all cooperation. And Islamic State is not a terrorism which is spreading only to a particular area. This is an international terrorism, and it hurts everyone. And therefore, there is a coordination and cooperation required at global level. If it is not there, you will find it enlarging. It's especially after Taliban has come in Afghanistan, in Taliban 2.0 after 15 August 21, you find Islamic State is also becoming stronger day by day, even in Afghanistan, and it's spreading its wing. And that is a challenge to India, because Afghanistan is not too far off from India. And we have been continuously getting a threat, not only from Islamic State, also from Al-Qaeda. Al-Zawahiri has also given. So therefore, this threat is looming large, and Indian security forces and Indian intelligence agency were very alert. And they were getting some input of this nature. But the way the Russia has done a preemptive action and the way they coordinated with Indian security and agency is a matter of encouragement. And that is the only way you can defeat international terrorism like Islamic State, by cooperating and coordination.
Okay, sir, thank you so much for bringing us your expertise on the subject. My colleague Anand